Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
The Ugandan National Museum, a place where unforgettable memories are created. Traditions are found and a connection to our Pal is reinforced. It is not only a testimony to the history of our nation, but also impacts knowledge of cultural and natural heritage to the present and future generations for their enjoyment. Through a variety of activities and exhibitions, we gather to discover our traditions and create new ones. The Uganda Museum is our country's cultural icon that makes it accessible for the next generations to come together as our story unfolds and represents the interplay of our country's past and present. It is in our history, but also in how it has evolved to embrace optical satisfaction and new influences. Our identity as a country is not only a moment in time, but also a journey of where we have been, where we are, and where we are going. We invite you to experience the authentic heritage, rich history of Uganda. Welcome to the Uganda National Museum.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Digital. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. It's still the Mighty Drive, and I am Princess Lowe Deledian. And now in the studios, I am with Engineer Tonny Olanya Olenge. He's a natural resource consultant. We're actually digging into the issue of the Balaalo question in northern Uganda. To some people, they think that it's just politics at play, but we would love to know, is it really politics at play? What is it that we are actually not seeing? What is the hidden agenda of the locals saying that, you know what, we're actually tired of you, you should leave our area? So I'm coming back to you, but before we actually get into that, let me tell our viewers on the platforms that we are streaming live on. That is the Alternative Uganda on Facebook and Digitalk TV. Just drop in your comments. I'm going to be reading them. Drop in those questions that you would love actually our guest of the day to tell us about what is happening in northern Uganda. We've had executive orders, but then A lot has not happened, but then we have actually some of the leaders that are in charge of the Balaalo in northern Uganda saying that the president is misled. There's a lot of information he's not given, and then he takes or he makes these executive orders basing on one side of the story, that he has not he has not had their side of the story to tell him that, you know what, this is what is happening, or this is what is happening in northern Uganda, or this is what they're not telling you. So we are going to be hearing from our guest of the day on what is actually happening. Is it politics at play? Is it that there is something hidden that us, the Ugandans, are not actually told on what is happening on ground? I'm back to you.
Basically, I've seen strategists or people who are crusading from the Balaalo side, thinking the legal remedy would help. I think that is like beating dead meat. This is not a legal question, by the way. I've given you the legal perspective.
But they run to the courts of law to at least...
They stand no chance. I've given you the background. They stand no chance legally. That's the truth. They stand no chance legally on every ground.
But these are all Ugandans who are free to settle anywhere they feel like.
Yes, yes,
because they are Ugandans.
Yes, yes.
One of them was actually asking now for the northern for the Acholis who are in Western Uganda. Should we also do the same thing?
Let me give you context.
Let me give you context.
Minister Raphael Majezi has bought land in where he's farming. Has anybody disturbed him? No. Emmanuel Dombo, he's farming that side. Has anybody disturbed him? No. And very many other people. Okay? And very many other people. And then the context is, I have seen a situation of guilt tripping. They're trying to isolate and point at Acholi leaders. This is not only in Acholi. This implementation is being done in Lango. There are complaints from Lango. The president of UPC, Jimmy Akena, who is the former first son, has been complaining. He has been saying that the Balaalo also invaded their farm, their family farm. Okay? They've taken over the ranch. So, the context is not only in Acholi. It is happening in West Nile, Lango, and Karamoja. But the heat of the moment is being placed on one sub-region, which is Acholi. And I understand the context, because there are deeper lenses towards it. Okay? There's the natural resource angle to it, in terms of minerals and oil and gas. Okay? Very, very serious one. Okay. And then there are angles towards, of course, the fertile land and for other commercial use. So we should not confuse this approach that is being taken to resolve this matter. This is not a legal question that can be handled legally in any case. Okay. Two, I think to me this is a matter of economics. Okay, because there's money involved, and this is a matter of the social understanding of society, because there are questions on how the different cultural settings have played out negatively towards the settlement of the Balaalo there. Okay, literally they have failed to integrate or to understand, and these are not all of them. Some of them have failed to integrate with the community. So the problems are being handled at a political level. I don't think the president does not understand the legal angle to it, and I think he would have assessed it thoroughly. Now, you've asked a question that why is it that the president has been passing all his executive orders? I think the president has had a good will to resolve this question. The president, being a Mulalo himself, is a chief Mulalo according to the words that was used by the spokesperson of the Balaalo yesterday on one of the platforms we're on. Yeah. He said the president is the chief Mulalo in this case. So I asked him, I said, if the president is chief Mulalo, that means the chief Mulalo knows you better. Just 2-3 days back, the president issued another tweet, not so? In his tweet, he was clearly blunt and sharp, and he said, the Balaalo are very arrogant groups. He himself. These are not my words. This is the president's word. Okay? And somebody they call the chief Mulalo. So if the president is issuing this directive, I believe the president knows exactly what to do. I believe the president knows his people. Because these are people,
but
these are people who are interlinked in terms of cultural background from Rwanda.
Let me add this for you.
DRC,
Mr. Daniel Barichi, he's the coordinator of the Balaalo.
Yes,
Northern
he's
Uganda.
the one who called the president Chief Balaalo.
Yes. He said some time back that the president is misled. Issuing these executive orders, he has actually not had their side of the story.
It's okay. I think the president has given them a chance and has said, we are going to have a verification committee. So the verification committee is not going to listen to the ends of only the local community. I think there will be groups they will listen to. They will listen to the civil society, they will listen to religious leaders, the cultural leadership, they will listen to the Balaalo, they will listen to the affected communities, okay? Then they will give the recommendations to the president. And I believe the verification committee will have the Balaalo leadership also as part of. Are we off?
Wow.
We're off, right?
But at the church, though,
Tawali man, what's up?
man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanye now, do you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
So sorry about that incident, but we are still having Engineer Olanya Tonny. Yeah, we're actually delving into the issue of the Balaalo question in Acholi and some parts of northern Uganda. He's actually sharing with us what the situationship is at this particular moment. But we would love to actually get to understand about the executive orders. Why are we still having issues between the two, between the Balaalo and then the locals? And then we get to hear from him about the cultural leaders. How have they worked upon this matter for the locals to actually stay calm, because I believe their voice matters.
The president has passed series of executive orders, okay? We've seen last year there was an executive order number 3 of 2024, something like that. Then this year we saw another one. Basically, by the president issuing executive orders, he is passing a vote of no confidence on the established structures of government that's supposed to do their job.
Okay.
Meaning that that is the highest level of authority that should even be questioned by anybody. But over time, we've seen these executive orders being sat on because the implementers are the affected people. The implementers of the executive order are the ones who have been frustrating the president's goodwill. So to me, I believe the president had goodwill to protect the community, the vulnerable community. The North is still vulnerable, as I've given you the background.
Yeah.
Basically, we're like 50 years behind other parts of the country. The war locked us up for over 25 years out of the country. We're like in a different country. I've seen other people arguing that we use the war as a scapegoat. These are facts. The war is not a scapegoat. If you've not been through war, you will not know. War does not end by the end of by the silence of the gun. So the president has been trying to understand the human intelligence of the people in the North who have gone through a lot and they're trying to recover. And he is aware that these monies were looted. There has not been any reconstruction program in this case. So when he's passing this kind of executive orders, he's exercising his mandate as a citizen also to protect a vulnerable group. As a president mandated by the Constitution to protect a vulnerable group. So this issue is not a contestation between the Acholis and the Balaalo. It's a contestation between government and the Balaalo. Government, in this case, trying to protect a vulnerable group.
Or the government is on your side, is protecting the vulnerable group, not the Balaalo. But then the locals are saying that the government is actually protecting the Balaalo. A reason as to why the president issues executive orders, but then nothing much is done. Well,
the president is being put to test. At least for these executive orders, we've seen some level of implementation. There are people who have been living with their cows, okay? And it has been clear in its directive that there will be verification. So if you got everything right, there will be a process that you will go through. So there is no...
With the background you told us of how one has to acquire land that side, are there people going to stand any chances?
Well, we will cross the river when we reach there. For now, let us be patient, follow the executive order, vacate the land. There will be a verification committee set. The earlier we do it, the better. That is what I know as of now.
Okay.
And then the instances whereby the implementers of the executive order, like in this case, the army that has been tasked, has gone into loggerheads. I've noted of threats and intimidations to the highest and to the lowest levels. Ministers being intimidated. A case in point, I've tried to intimidate Dr. Mona, who is the Minister of Northern Uganda. I think all of you have seen this. You know, sometimes when you mention it, it is not like you're trying to accuse someone. I've seen the person. We no longer want the Balaalo in Northern Uganda. I've seen the person of. I've seen the person of the CDF, who is the first son, General Muhoozi, going as far as calling the minister an idiot. Okay, I think that was very uncouth of him. If that was an intimidation ploy, I think that was weak, coming from a person of his caliber. Because you know, in the order of national precedence, the CDF is supposed to salute a minister. You know that. So why would you go and abuse a minister appointed by your president, who is the commander-in-chief, and your father in this case? So I think it was a bad precedence, because they're the implementers of this. So basically he's passing a vote of no confidence or trying to tell us that his father is not in charge of the government.
Do you think this issue is being politicized as we gear up for the 2026 general elections?
Well, I think the president knows what to do. If he has not been doing the right thing, he should know that the North, the North of this country, voted NRM on one question. Or voted the president on one question. I've given you the background of the mistrust. And the mistrust started right from the days even in the when the president was working with the likes of Obote and all that. So there's been built up mistrust in the region, from Lango, from West Nile, from Acholi. So the North voted on the question that, can we trust this government again? Because the trust was lost. If you remember the negotiation for peace in Nairobi, when those of Ambassador Olarotuno were given a deception by the president, by Rebel Museveni by that time, when they had gone to negotiate. They had told them, we're not moving, we're not advancing towards Kampala and all that. So there was a peace that was being negotiated in Nairobi, which they maneuvered through, they outmaneuvered those guys. So now there is mistrust up to now But when they were voting in 2021, there was a question being asked in the community that can we trust the NRM? And so the president must know that the region, Northern Uganda, is not a bloc support. It's a region on just a wave, it's just on a pendulum. It's swinging like this. It's like a swing state, what you call in the US. So it's not a stable ground. And so you must know that everything that is done, or everything that has been going on for the past 5 years, has been to answer the question of trust. So when you see Northern Uganda voting against the region, you should not be shocked. At least I would have told you here. The people are having a question of trust on the government. Okay. And this is a very loud question. And I think the president was trying to address himself to these kind of situations, okay? Because he has positioned himself as someone who has the goodwill for the people, but maybe the people around him are the ones who have been frustrating his goodwill. So we will leave it to a test of time, okay? But also he should know that the Balaalo eviction should not be a ploy for the 2026 election, because there are issues beyond the Balaalo question. Which must be resolved. Issues of land compensation, issues of natural resource governance, okay? The issues. The Acholis have issues on the issue of oil and gas. They have not understood what is happening in the oil and gas sector. They only hear about Oyema Oil City, Albertine Graben, Bunyoro Oil City, whatever the case.
On that point...
So there are deep-seated questions, issues of reparation. There should be compensation for war victims. There should be the process of truth-telling. This government committed atrocities in the north. They have not yet gone there to accept the mistakes they have done. People were raped. Men were raped. People were killed. There were massacres. So there are issues that need to be handled by this government beyond the Balaalo question.
Yes, but let me bring back the other question that someone raised some time back, that you're using the war as an scapegoat. Is it true? Because according to what you're saying, you actually you refer us back to the war,
I gave you the background of where the issue is coming from. You need to understand the context. You need to understand the context very well. If you go to the north, you will see the vulnerability I'm talking about. So for somebody to come and say, willing seller, willing buyer, this is just a desperate community that is trying to survive from hand to mouth.
Let me read this comment for you from Nachene Rita. Thank you so much for watching. She says, truth be told, leaders like Otto Odong should be tamed too. We should all agree that there are some errant Balaalo, but some leaders in northern Uganda are bad-mannered. Baganda, Basoga and other business people have been tortured and mistreated for doing business in the area. Let's say the business they do are illegal. Where does Otto get the audacity to mistreat fellow Ugandans? By this, we see that some leaders are using Balaalo issue to torment other Ugandans. Should Baganda also do the same to non-Baganda in Buganda?
Well, I've heard of those accusations. I've even seen Council Mabirisi go on rampage, especially yesterday and today. Personally, I think they are trying to refer to the push that Honorable Dongato and some environmental activists were pulling because there were issues. I told you issues of also deforestation had become big. Charcoal from Acholi was moving as far as China. They were being exported for making toothpaste and all that, okay? So I will tell you for a fact that there was the executive order number 3 of 2024 covered the issues of what? The issues of charcoal. Okay, Balaalo was one of them, but the issue of deforestation, the president banned commercial production and sale of charcoal. So what does it mean? It meant that there was supposed to be enforcement by government. Government failed to do its enforcement. So in the event that the locals started to use the law or put the laws in their hands, I think that was also failure on government side, because how do you sit on a presidential executive order in the first place? Okay, so it was failure on the government side, and I've heard of some of the complaints. Okay, I have heard of the complaints like you've heard. I have not been there to attest whether they really happened. Okay. But I've had such concerns. And if they really happen, I think I strongly condemn any kind of violence or any kind of torture inflicted on anyone. Because I believe everyone should be treated fairly, you know? Okay. Yeah, in any case, if they had gone outside the law, they should have they should have been put through the because you have a right to arrest somebody and hand them over to police, but not to be the judge, be the arresting person and all that, you know. You cannot be the prosecutor and the judge in the same case. So that's why they create these legal parameters. So that is how best I can answer that context, you know.
Okay. So the two sides, how best can they work together, work hand in hand without each party inciting violence?
Which sides?
The Balaalo and then the locals.
I've been giving advice to the Balaalo. Unfortunately, majority don't listen, including Bariche, my good friend. I made deliberate efforts, and I've told him, why don't you form your association in time? Call your members to order when they commit problems. Before it even is reported to leaders in Acholi, you can crack the whip internally. And they are failed.
Because there are those that are saying that they have nowhere to go.
Where
they
did
have
they come
their
from?
cattle, but they have nowhere to go.
Where did they come from? And in any case, I've had the tribal... And
I was listening into someone who said that I was invited by my Acholi friend, and when I came, I acquired land and started doing my business. But now the executive order, the president is
that they should not worry.
To evict.
The president is saying for now, because there was building up. There was a build up for violence, by the way. The local people were going to attack these farms.
And that is why
so the president was trying to solve a quick remedy. Okay, that let's first get everyone out and verify. Okay.
But I believe this process is going to take time. But then we have people who have their cattle.
But the president was clear.
The
president was clear. He knows these people. He knows where they come from. Where did they come from? They have homes. They have land somewhere else.
There are those who are even crying on TV saying we have nowhere to go.
What they are going to do in the north, they are going to do fattening. It's not like they don't have a home ground where they have space. They are going to do fattening. Okay? I've told you, they have gone to do fattening.
And then there is someone who was saying that this is a tribal campaign.
It's not a tribal campaign. I don't know why. Firstly, the Balaalo are not a tribe. So why is it a tribal campaign?
Between the people of northern Uganda
and
it's simple. It's simple. Western Uganda.
If it's a tribal campaign, then it should have been a tribe. Let's say they say Banyankole versus Acholi. Okay, but this is a term that is referenced, which is not even a tribe. The Balaalo are just a concoction of people. They are a group of people from different parts of the country, of East Africa. Others from Rwanda, others from Congo, others from Tanzania, others from Uganda. So when did it become tribal when they were chasing them? Why did it become tribal when they were chasing them from Tanzania? They were evicted. President, I forget the name, he evicted them from Tanzania. From Congo, the same thing. They came, the ones who came from Tanzania went to Bulisa. They were pushed away. And among the reasons why those ones were pushed away from Bulisa, which is the group that went to Acholi, is one. When they came, that's why I said there's also the angle of natural resource governance to their settlement. Okay? When they came in Bulisa, they did not acquire as just any other part of the land in Bulisa. They came and picked strategic access land, strategic areas that they had prior information that there would be a crude oil pipeline passing through, oil infrastructures were going to be set through. So when compensation for the oil pipe project started in Bunyoro, there was an uproar. Actually, that is one of the reasons why the Balaalo were pushed from the biggest reason why they were pushed from Bulisa. Okay, the issue of oil was what pushed them from Bulisa. The biggest reason, from what I can tell you, because they had acquired all these spaces. So the president made an intervention to protect the people of Bunyoro, the vulnerable people there.
Okay.
And said, fine, there should be protection of indigenous rights. You guys have to leave this space. Okay? That's how they were pushed out. Because when it came to compensation, you would see the list is not having the indigenous people. Yet the law protects indigenous landowners in terms of natural resources. Okay? So if I buy land from you, after 2 years, they discover that the land that I bought from you has gold. You have a claim. You get what I'm trying to say? That is within the law. You have a claim. Yes, you have a claim forever on that same land. So what happens is they are pushed from there and they come to Acholi. Even in Acholi, where they're settling, the pattern of settlement is also queried. Okay? Look at the areas they're settling. Amoro, Noya, of course, Noya and Amoro because of the oil and gas. Then you come to Amoro, you come to Pade, you come to Gulu district, the sites of Palaro or Rojo and all that. They are positioning themselves where there is rich natural resource wealth, where there's gold, where there's oil, where there's uranium. That's where they're positioning themselves.
Do you have evidence?
So, yes, I have evidence. We even released research data to it, a 50-page research data that sparked debate from the ministry. The entire Ministry of Energy went to Gulu, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development went to Gulu.
Because you have people who are saying that you guys should dialogue.
Dialogue.
Dialogue. The Balaalo to solve this issue.
And I've told them clearly, number one, you cannot come to seek peace from me when you're not willing to apologize. First of all, acknowledge your mistake. The Balaalo are not willing to acknowledge their mistake.
What did they do?
Up to now.
What did they do that you want them to apologize for?
They know what they did. They know what they did. We've mentioned it over time.
For
you
us,
allow
we don't
your animals to stray on people's farms. You block roads. You barricade roads, government roads. Close access to people. Close access to water points for people. Okay?
So it's not only about the land that we actually get
the social
to hear.
behavior. The social behavior. You are parading yourselves in the villages with guns. People are in panic. People are in, the trauma of war, the trauma of seeing a gun. Why are they not attacking Emmanuel Dom? Why are they not attacking Majezi and the other people who are doing farming there? Why are they not attacking the white farmers? There are farmers who have come all the way from Ukraine.
Actually, those that are saying that the locals actually targeting a specific group of the Balaalo.
Why so? Ask yourself, why would I host you in my land for 10, 15 years and I'm resenting you now? Why so? Why? And in any case, if you're trying to blame the locals in the north, why is it that the Balaalo have always been chased from one place to the other, one place to the other? Why? Because when they come, it takes
us back to what other people are saying about the tribal campaign.
When they come, they create. So who is creating the tribal campaign? Why wasn't it tribalistic from Tanzania, from Congo, from Bulisa? Why? Why now in the north? That is just trying to guilt trip a region that has been through war and is trying to recover. A vulnerable group. So they should stop that kind of blackmail. That is actually blackmail. That's what I call civic arrogance. They want to use their intellectual narrative to create empathy and to make you feel guilty about what you're really going through. So it doesn't work that way. Okay?
So let's get back to the issue of dialogue.
The issue of dialogue is simple. I think most of the tribes in the region or in the north, particularly in Acholi, we have a very strong justice system. We have a very strong reconciliation system. We have actually a format that has been studied over time, and I think even ICC was trying to look into it, especially with this investigation of Dominic Ongwen and Koyelo. We have what we call the matoput. Okay, when let's say a brother commits, let's say somebody kills the other, there are processes that are done, the cultural rites that are done to make peace between these two people. Okay. And I think the same has been taken up by the judiciary in the country, where they're pushing now the alternative dispute resolution mechanisms within the judiciary, within the justice systems of Uganda. All that has been benchmarked from Acholi. So if it is dialogue, we are #1 in it. That's why even Kanyumunyu, who killed Akana, our son, he still went there and they forgave him. Didn't you see that? So why wouldn't you say the Balaalo who have not even killed people cannot be dialogued? But you cannot come for justice when your hands are dirty. You don't want to acknowledge your mistakes. You still think you can defend it. That is what it is. The Bariches are still defending the injustice. They have never condemned what has been going on. I've not seen a Mulalo condemning what the CDF tweeted, calling Dr. Mona an idiot. I would want to see them do that. Actually, I've been challenging them to do that. They're all mute. I would want to see them condemn their friend or their colleague, Rabashaja, who sued the paramount chief, an abomination in our tribe. Okay? He sued the and he's demanding, it's just ridiculous. He's demanding 1.6 billion. And the issue is very simple. The community complained to the cultural leadership. Cultural leadership went to mediate a land conflict, which is part of a justice system to handle the issues. The man decided to even leave the meeting. He became arrogant. He was very disrespectful. Something we cannot tolerate. We have tolerated enough. For 2 years, this has been on the radar. The cultural institution sat on the matter for 2 years.
But you've been living peacefully ever
that is
since
that is how moderate we are. We sat on this matter for 2 years. The media, people like you, did not know about it. We just started speaking about it of late to make people know the extent of the aggression of these people. So when you come to an area, okay? When you come to my area, they say, even the Bazungus say, when you go to Rome, behave like the Romans. You cannot come to the Catholic Church and you think you're going to be more Catholic than the Pope. Never. So when you go to the Catholic Church, you have to follow the norms. You make the sign of the cross. You listen and follow their norms. You cannot come and bring your...
But there are those that go to the Catholic Church when they are not Catholics.
When you come to an area and then you want to impose your dominance, like what the situation you see in Palestine and Israel and all that,
yes,
you will create what they would call an existential threat. So the Balaalo are being pushed away from every area because for them when they come, they want to conquer you. They want to dominate you. They don't want to migrate and integrate. You get? Because there's migration and integration, which is allowable. So if these guys had settled in well, they were well behaved, they were moving on well with their life, with the local people, for all these years that they have been doing. So I believe maybe they got a bit comfortable. They felt like the people of Acholi did not know what they were doing, or the North did not know what they were doing. And I don't think if they spoil or the way they have spoiled their stay in the North, they will get another space.
There's a question from Robert Simbira. Kenneth, thank you so much for watching. He says, why do you think eviction should be done before verification? Does that sound...
I think the president, it doesn't sound fair, but the president was trying to act on human intelligence. I've clearly told you. The anger that was brewing in the public would have led to death. There would have been a bloodbath. So the president is trying to act in time. Okay. And these guys should be understandable to that. And they should be willing to condemn the Balaalos who are bad themselves. So don't come defending yourself when you don't want to condemn those who are bad. And you talk about dialogue. I've given you our multiple justice system. Okay. But you can't come when your hands are dirty. Okay.
We have a country at stake. How do we resolve these issues amicably?
Number one, and this now transcends even the Balaalo question, okay? I've given you the background, because there is a lot of historical context to how divided this country is. Just like you hear about the colonialists using divide and rule system, I think I've also seen in the politics of Uganda, where the leadership in power normally wants to use one tribe against the other. Okay? Yeah. I think as a country, we are on a fastly ticking time bomb. We are on a time bomb. Look at the political space. Look at the social division, the margins between the poor and the rich. Okay? Okay. When you have very many poor people and few rich people, definitely you're creating war yourself. So there's an economic war that is raging on in this country. There are political grievances that are brewing in this country. I'm now talking in general because the Balaalo also fit in here. Yes. And I think the best way to resolve it is to go by the approach of Honorable Norbert Mao. We must embrace a national program for a very honest conversation. One, on truth-telling. Okay? The Baganda must tell the Acholis what hurts them about the Acholis, that they have not told them. Yeah. The same way, the Banyoro must go and talk to the Baganda. There were historical contexts on how they lost some counties and all that. So there are grievances in every society. That must be dealt with as a country. Because Uganda found us here. Bunyoro existed. Acholi existed on their own. Everyone existed on their own. Yeah. We are still trying to find a balance on how to put everyone in one box called Uganda. Yeah. So there must be a very honest conversation on truth-telling. When we have told each other the truth, then we can then go for the reconciliation, national reconciliation. Okay. And I believe if we don't do that now, this country will blast one day. Very, very soon, this country is going to blast. And I'm telling you this, if you move and see and interact with the common man, the level of anger in the public is too much.
Let's talk about...
Let me give you context. Do you know why? And this happens, and this will tell you why. in other countries, you don't see the level of mob justice as it is in Uganda. In Kampala, yeah, if they mention that you're a thief, they will not even wait, they'll kill you, not so?
Yes.
That is the anger. Everyone, even those who are beating you do not know
but
why
that
they're
is not
beating
how
you.
things are supposed to be done.
Yes,
however
yes.
much that's what is
Yes,
happening.
so I'm telling you that the mob justice system that is implemented by the population in this country should tell you the level of anger. But also the political grievances that exist in this country, the social grievances, the economic grievances that exist in this country. So I think President Museveni should do this country justice, okay, to open up the debate on transition. It is a very risky venture to even discuss transition in this country. But he must open it up because, you know, he's not going to live here forever. There will be time for him to go. So he must open this debate up and dialogue with everyone. I don't see anything that stops President Museveni to engage the likes of Besigye instead of arresting him.
But
the way
can
he has
dialogue
done.
bring
I don't
about
see any
this in
problem
this
why he
country?
should not sit on the round table with Honorable Chagulanyi to discuss the future of this country if he means well. What would be a problem? What would be the problem of him setting an agenda to have a discussion with the opposition leadership? Because they are part of government anyway. Opposition...
opposition doesn't want to be part of the
opposition...
IPOD because NUP doesn't subscribe to
No,
the
that is
IPOD.
pretense. That is pretense. Opposition is actually government. Are you aware?
Government
Their government may be on part B of the government.
Government in waiting.
Not government in waiting. They are government itself. Is Honorable Senyonyi government in waiting? He's in parliament. He's doing government business, not so. You think he's doing his private work? No, he's doing
On the
government
side
business.
of the opposition.
Whatever the case, opposition is part of government. So there cannot be a failure for the president to start leading a debate or a discussion for dialogue, internally, politically.
But we've had opposition political players saying they can't dialogue with President Museveni.
Has the president made attempts to that?
We have the iPod.
The iPod, the issues that the opposition raises on iPod, have they been addressed? These are very simple things to handle. And these are,
But then there are those who actually don't want to go for iPod meetings.
The ego should be toned down. No, Noob has legitimate questions they're raising.
Ego has to be toned down by the two parties, the government and then the opposition itself.
You
So
see,
if opposition is not taking a step, and then government is taking a step by having the iPod, so who are we going to look at in this matter?
the iPod is an NGO, you know that? It's not a government setting. Yes.
But now in the Political Party and Organizations Act,
They were included, yes.
yes.
They're trying to create sort of a sketch about it. But the most important thing is this. We cannot fail to dialogue as a country. That is like trying to make a mistake by mistake. We can't fail. We can't really fail to dialogue as a country because these are the issues that keep trickling down.
In every region.
Yes, because the Balaalo issue is just one problem of Uganda, one small problem of Uganda. There are very many big problems in this country that needs to be handled.
Okay.
And it's very unfortunate that President Museveni is aging very fast and the future of Uganda is very uncertain. Very many people are scared. I have talked to people who every day they are moving in Kampala, they walk with their passports. They think anytime something is going to happen.
Yeah.
What if the president fails to wake up? What will happen? Nobody knows what is going to happen. So that is how we are living in a country.
We can't leave this place without talking about the issue of gold. When you look at a country like Uganda that is actually exporting gold, but then we actually don't know where this is coming from. So let me also ask you this. Is this gold issue part of the reasons as to why you no longer want the Balaalo in northern Uganda? Is it part of it?
That is one of the reasons. Natural resources. I've told you it's oil, it's gold, it's uranium, and so many other mineral resource wealth, because they are positioning themselves. Why would you come specifically for such an area if you, meaning the Balaalo have access to certain key information within government. The most mineralized area or region in Uganda is Karamoja. Karamoja is the richest region in terms of resource wealth, but they're the poorest in terms of household poverty.
Yeah.
Why? Why is Karamoja rich but poor? Why? Karamoja is rich but poor because of what I would term a natural resource curse. Part of the reason why we are trying to raise these questions for the Balaalo to respond to, or for the president to respond to, is because we are trying to avoid a natural resource curse like we see in Karamoja.
Okay.
Let me give you context. If indeed the Balaalo wanted grazing land, there's grazing land in Karamoja. But do you know why they're not going there?
It's hot.
It's not just hot. The Karamojongs would eat the cows. Because they have the same nomadic style, okay? The Karamojongs would eat the Balaalo cows. Thoroughly. So they would not risk going there. There is a lot of vacant land when you cross the border in South Sudan. They would not risk, because the balance of power is good there, because everyone has a gun, you know?
Okay.
In Karamoja, the locals also can access guns. In South Sudan, it is just normal business. So, the issue of gold and the general natural resource governance question is a very important discussion that we must have as a country. But specifically, for the gold sector in Uganda, it's a sector that must be opened up. And I want to encourage you, the media.
But so far we are producing very little gold and we are making big exports. One would wonder, where is this gold coming from?
Of course, there are issues being raised in terms of illicit mineral. I've read reports from very many established entities, be it the UN and so many other platforms, talking about conflict minerals being racketeered, and Kampala as an industrial hub for that kind of mineral trade, illicit mineral trade, meaning conflict mineral or minerals that have no traceability of origin.
But now the gold trade in Uganda is so opaque. Like it's opaque. It's not transparent.
Much as we have gold coming in, be it transit or it's coming in to be washed from Congo and South Sudan. Yeah. We also have a lot of gold deposits in Uganda, and we just need to be careful as a country to see how best we position ourselves, because gold is actually what is holding the economy now. I can tell you that.
Yes.
Gold is Uganda's biggest export earner. Okay? And government needs to regulate it, and the laws that government has put in place are good enough.
Okay.
The problem has been now on the implementation, where you find even the implementers are being put to task. They're not doing their job. The mineral police, there are also accusations of them playing double standards, okay? They're being used as part of the racketeering, yet they're the ones supposed to be a unit to handle that. So many investors,
they're saying that they're benefiting in one way or the other, but in an opaque way of doing things.
You see, this is what I've done with the gold sector. If you move on the streets of Kampala and ask somebody, man, what do you know about gold? You know what they will tell you? This is a mafia business. This is for the cartels. This is for an established, connected group in government. Yeah. But I want to tell you something very simple. What they are doing is what the West has been doing. The Western world has been doing. America and the UK and all that. That's what they've been doing to China and Russia. Using their media platforms to control public opinion and narrative on how bad Russia and China is. Okay? But when China started opening up, about what they're exactly doing, how they are a global powerhouse in terms of manufacturing, people started believing. Okay? So the issue is control of narrative. They have built propaganda around the gold trade that it is a risky business. Of course, I've seen people lose money. It's risky, yes. But that was built up because there are a few cartels who want to control the gold trade alone. They don't want the local man to be involved in the gold trade. But the gold trade is where the money is. Because now, I'm very happy that Bank of Uganda has joined the gold buying program. And I appreciate that effort. That is part of the ways to open up the sector. And there are conversations into the gold trade that are even happening. Tomorrow, at Serena Chigu, we're having a gold banking conference. We want to discuss the gold sector and open it up. Okay? And I encourage the media to really take interest in this sector, because much as there are very bad stories about the gold, there are also good stories. Okay?
But
there are also good stories to be told.
Media has been silenced on this issue.
Yes, media has been silenced. I will give you an example of journalists who have been silenced, like Andrew Chamagero. Andrew Chamagero did a story on gold, okay? And I want to tell you, Andrew Chamagero was intimidated. He was arrested until some people helped him out of the country. Andrew Chamagero actually is in China, as I would say, on quiet exile. Andrew Chamagero of NTV. Because they did a gold story of a German investor who was fleeced $1.7 million. Yeah. Who was intimidated out of the country.
Is this
the
intentional?
man pushed his case, complained to the presidency. The president even set up an investors protection unit under Kano Nakalema, who are all being stepped on.
Is silencing journalists or media intentional?
of course, the purpose is we control the public narrative. The matter must not be discussed. And if you, let me tell you, if you request for platform to discuss the gold trade in other media platforms, they'll even run away. So that's the narrative. But this is a sector that is paying people. We want our mothers, who are the artisanal miners on the ground, to earn money. Okay? To earn the money. We want them to know. We want the transparency in the trade. We want the openness in the trade. Okay? What we would term ESGs. Okay. Environmental social governance aspects of the trade. So the issue of traceability needs to be handled well. I want to applaud that it is a team of young IT experts who are trying to develop a blockchain technology to aid in tracing gold. So
in this matter of gold, what needs to be done for people to actually benefit from this gold politically and economically?
The economics of the gold trade is very simple, or the politics. Let me start with the economics. The economics. Firstly, people must know the gold trade is business that anybody can do. Just do it right and follow the law, just like any other business. In gold trade, you must make sure that you do proper consultation with those who have been there before, so you know what exactly is going on. People must know that the gold trade has been closed up by a few circles because they want to be there alone. Just like in the days of colonialism, when they came and found that there's minerals, the Belgians, the people from Belgium, King Leopold found that Congo has minerals. He said, I want this very part, okay? Don't bring other people here. So it's about closing the space. It's about closing the space. There is nothing wrong about the gold trade. People should actually join the mineral sector. Okay. Because it's a very big income earner for the country. So that is the economics. And we want to see also impact on the local artisanal miners. The local artisanal miners of Uganda are not benefiting as much as we expect them to benefit. Okay. Because gold is a precious metal, it's a high-level commodity. The price of gold as we speak now could be going between $110,000 to $120,000, depending on the market. Okay? So it's because the world is actually moving towards what they call de-dollarization. To run away from the dollar system, okay, and have what we call the gold system, because gold is the real money. The rest is credit. What we are seeing as paper, actually, if you read the history of how money started to be used, previously we used to use gold as the standard, what we call the gold standard. So you would go with a bar of gold like this to the bank and deposit it, and the bank would give you what they call a promissory note. The promissory note is what we see now. It is a promise that we are giving you this paper, which paper is the current paper we're using as cash. That this paper is a representation of your 1 kilo of gold that you deposited with us. Okay. So the world is trying to move back to the gold system. That is why every central bank is crashing to start buying gold. It's very unfortunate that when Museveni took over power, they opened up the sector and government stopped doing business. Yes. Bank of Uganda was the only bank or the only entity buying gold in Uganda. In Uganda. Before President Museveni took over. When they took over, they closed that system. They opened up, they privatized the sector, and now they've just woken up that indeed we need reserves. Because in the event that there's a global economic crash, Uganda has no reserves to survive. The economy of Uganda would break down. So those are the things that we need to deal with. Most importantly, the deposits that were declared by the president in the State of the Nation address, I still think that that is a good indication that we need to take on from. But also, that needs to be given with good data. Because, you know, there are so many investors who are questioning the data that was given to the president. Because the value of gold that they have declared that Uganda has is 10 times more than the gold that has already been discovered and mined in other parts of the world combined. So they're saying Uganda has more gold than any other country. So I believe that this is a blessing, or a natural resource is supposed to be a blessing, but normally it turns out to be a curse. That's what you see in Congo. It's a natural resource war in Congo. It's the same with South Sudan. They're fighting over oil and gold. Basically, then they use the Nuer and the Dinka to kill themselves. Basically, it's a natural resource war. Due to time, we are going to be closing it at this, so I would love for you to give us your closing remarks. First on the Balaalo, but also on the gold sector in Uganda. On the Balaalo, I would think there should be a debate, or there should be a very honest conversation. And this, I think, should be led by young people this time around. We should move towards something I would call a transformative youth-led agenda for Uganda. A transformative youth-led agenda for this country. Why am I saying that? Because I have realized that there is a generation of elders who seem to have their grievances among themselves. I don't think me and you have grievances, okay? Much as you come from a different area.
Yeah.
We don't have problems, me and you, okay? So you'd find your father could have had problems with another counterpart during the struggles of putting up this country to where it is. Okay? There's a generation that has their generational crisis. But they're trying to push it down to us, to our generation. Because let me say there's a genocide, God forbid, in Uganda. Who are going to be used in the killing? Me and you, not our age. We're the energy. We're the energy to be exploited. So I think, and this should be taken up by both government, the civil society, the religious entities, that there should be efforts to empower young people to lead this discussion on a transformative agenda on where they think this country should head. Even on the aspects of truth-telling, national reconciliation, all those programs, if they don't have young people at the center and they think the elders will sit and make decisions, that's why we don't see things trickling down. So that program of transformative agenda should be led by young people for this country. And we cannot fail to leave the elders. We can only have them to guide. So it is transformative youth-led agenda for the country, but elder-guided. That is one. Two, that is what I can conclude with on the issue of the Balaalo. I've just given it as a context for the whole country. Then two, on the gold trade, I think everyone needs to understand the myth that has been created around the gold trade, basically by a few people who think they should be the only one to be in the business. But this is an open business, and I encourage everyone to seek information from the rightful entities like in the ministry or other consultants that can help you. But ensure, and I want to appreciate Minister Nyamutoro. She has been trying to open up the sector. She's been moving to the field. She's been trying to even host TikTok live to answer questions about the mineral sector, which is a good avenue. And I also encourage the media to take interest, to tell the bad stories so people can learn from them. The people who have been scammed, people have lost money in Kampala. And I know on a daily basis, even as we are seated now, there's an investor in Kampala here who is losing millions. As I'm speaking, every day that I sit, I get people calling me that I've lost money, I've lost money. But I also want to appreciate Alternative Digital for this platform, because the last time we spoke about gold trade, we shared some stories of some investors who feel that a platform like Digital should take it a little notch higher to capture their stories, to host them also, perhaps create a specific program. Because this is the heart of the economy, okay? To create a specific program or give them platform to tell their stories. Because the power of the media is very, very strong. And I want to tell you that Alternative Digital platform has gotten a very, very good reach with these investors. Some of the things we talk about here, we think ends here. But it's being discussed in the corridors of power in Washington. It's being discussed in the corridors of power in Dubai, in the presidency of different agencies. The ideas we've shared on this platform, and I've seen other countries like Ghana put it up already. So this is not a small platform that I take it as serious as I take it, because when we push this content out, people normally pick it up. The algorithms normally give them this. So I think the trade should be opened, and we should continue to keep talking about it. And it is a good business.
Thank you so much, Engineer Tonny, for joining us this morning. It has been a great time with you, sharing or giving insights on the issue of the Balaalo and then the gold trade in Uganda. We're going to be closing it at this. Thank you so much, our viewers, for watching. Thank you so much for those who have commented, for those that have shared. Thank you so much. I think I've not read any comments from our YouTube channel, but thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for keeping it the Alternative Digital. So don't miss the Voltage Show this evening at 7 to 9 p.m. I'm going to be moderating that show as well. So let's meet in the evening. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Good morning.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.